getting you up and getting your sports day started.
I mean, I could wear a good-looking suit and I could speak eloquently on his behalf.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast.
And then you'll take your remote and you'll push the button.
Okay.
And then magically the game will appear.
From Double T 97.3.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for being with us this morning on the Morning Drive. Clay says this, Chuck, Jamie, and Jeff, what sauce do you enjoy with crow? Jeff responded with victory sauce, Jamie. Victory sauce.
Okay.
Let's see here. Hey, Jamie made it to Lubbock yesterday and went by Rip Griffin Park and watched the scrimmage. Lots of new faces out there. I really enjoyed being out there again. Would you agree with lots of new faces?
Yes, 100%.
But a lot of talent, right?
Yes, no doubt. Some guys that I think the coaching staff's really excited about. I think you ended up with your class ranking being inside the top 15, so it's some talented guys.
So they've reloaded to a degree, right? Also today, usually this was like October the 15th, but with these sports and teams almost going, 365, 12 months out of the year, even if you win the national championship, seems like practice starts the next day. Basketball practice starts today for the men and women. First official practice is today. They've been allowed to have workouts and even workouts with coaches. It's a limited number of hours. It's not very much, but it's enough that it's not like they're not seeing their team for the, just first time today. I mean, they've spent quite a bit of time with them. And obviously with the women, I mean, they went to Greece, so they spent an exponential amount of time with them. But it's weird because, there was a time a long time ago where, you'd have the midnight practice and you'd go at 12:01 and you'd have the big hoorah. But today it's simply first day of practice for both the men and the women. They're going to have, I think some probably extra comments from different people as they get things started off. The men's conference schedule was released on Friday. And my understanding is the women's conference schedule will be released today.
Okay.
So be looking for that, and we'll get into that. Coach Joey McGuire has on his big board in the Spike Dykes meeting room, he calls it the plan to win. He's pretty open about the plan to win. Rule number one of the plan to win is don't beat yourself. Boy, and that's exactly what the Chiefs did yesterday with Chris Jones. I mean, they had an opportunity to get off the field and basically, run out the clock. But after he sacks, Matt Ryan, exchanges words with him. I don't know who started it. I don't know who. Clearly, Chris Jones ended it because what he said got him a flag, and I have no idea what he said. The official just said he said words, essentially, and threw an unsportsmanlike penalty call on him. And then Indianapolis drives down, gets a touchdown. They win the ball game. So basically, I mean, there were a lot of reasons why they didn't win the ball game. Missed field goals, missed opportunities, interception at the end, blah, 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 blah. But when you do something like that, you put your team in a terrible spot and kept Indianapolis out on the field, and you gave one to them, and they earned it. So that's that. Cowboys will play tonight. Here's something, I guess if you'd asked me at face value, I'd have said, I would have probably said, 6-4, 7-3, 5-5. Over the last 10 meetings between the Cowboys and the Giants, Dallas has won 9 of the last 10.
Giants have been pretty bad of late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really bad of late.
But I mean, if I'd asked you that, would you have said somewhere along the same line, 7-3, 8?
I probably would have gone plus 500 for the Cowboys. Not that high though, but I probably would have 7-3 maybe. Yeah, that's probably a good guess.
Yeah. So the Cowboys played.
I mean, when was the last time the Giants were even remotely good? Feels like it's been quite a while.
The year before Eli Manning retired? Year before that?
Yeah, probably so.
In that neighborhood?
Mm-hmm. And there have been some times where, those Cowboy-Giant games at the end of the season basically meant a playoff berth for either team. I mean, it's been a few years ago, but there have been, a couple of those times where the Giants won the games and then go on to win Super Bowls. Not saying that the Cowboys had won that game. They'd have gone and won the Super Bowl, but I mean, You can't win the Super Bowl if you're not in the playoffs. So this
That is true. It is very hard to win the Super Bowl if you're not in the playoffs. Like
that's the kind of
numbers track for that. That 0% of the teams
that's the kind of deep dive analysis that you're going to get here.
have made.
Only here.
Only here. Dusty asked me this, and I don't know if this is the same guy that asked me this on the post game on Saturday, and I said no. Chuck, do you still have Texas Tech going 5-7? No. I mean, you're 3-1 at this point. I don't even think, Jamie, I would take 6-6 today.
I don't know if I would either, but I don't know that I also don't know that I would predict higher than 6-6.
Okay. How do you feel about Saturday's chances? Do you feel really, really good? Do you feel somewhat good? Do you like the 11 a.m. start? Kind of feel that's one thing that's on your side. You kind of, especially if you're playing on the road, you like to play those early games. You don't have to sit around all day and let the fans get all juiced up all day long.
I'd say my confidence level out of 10 is like a 4.5.
Okay. Jeff, how about you?
Where's yours?
I'm at like a 7.
Okay.
There's so many biases built in though for that game, for me. But I'm at a 7.
Okay.
I feel like this is the year. we're going to go up there and take care of business.
Man,
There've been so many times when we haven't.
so many times.
So many times.
So many times, like I felt we've had the better team than them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've been thinking that they were overrated, and then Saturday night,
Yeah.
oh man, never mind. That's a good team.
That's a good team. Here's the deal. I don't know if you're going to be favored and how many games, the rest of the way, but clearly there's no patsy the rest of the way. You've got at K-State, at Oklahoma State the next 2 weeks, bye week, then home against West Virginia, Baylor, at TCU on November 5th. Kansas comes here on November 12th, at Iowa State, and then Oklahoma to finish. I don't know of the teams that are left, Jamie. I don't know who's the easiest.
They all look like they've got something for you.
They all look like football teams, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. They all look like football teams.
Well,
Jeff, how about
it's
you?
been that way in the Big 12 Conference.
Mm-hmm.
It's except for the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah.
And so Kansas finally put themselves together a football team, and so that changes things.
Yeah, it looks like they've put themselves together a football team. They beat their fellow basketball power Duke on Saturday, and I guess I looked at that game and I watched quite a bit of the first half before we left to go to the ball game. The thing that stood out to me about that one was that's a game where there was a lot of hype going into it because they'd sold out the stadium and made a big deal about it. They win 35-27. Duke had some chances there at the end, but they won. That's a game that sometimes when they've had some success there, they've just not been able to handle success. So they're 4-0 on the season, and we'll see them later on in the year. So it'll be interesting to see if their quarterback is still all in a bag of chips when he comes to Lubbock. Their next.
I think it's going to get more difficult for Kansas. I think they're an improved football team.
Yes.
I don't think West Virginia is the top of the conference, and I also don't think Duke's the top of college football.
No.
I think it'll get more difficult.
Can they win 2 more games?
I think they can.
Yeah.
I think they can.
They've got the next 2 weeks for them. They have Iowa State at home and TCU at home, and Iowa State was beaten by Baylor, and TCU had a really good win over SMU. But he questioned, SMU is not in the Big 12. Obviously, they're not a Big 12 caliber team.
I think Kansas should think they have a good shot in both those games.
Yeah. Juan says this: I'm at a coin toss for the Kansas State game. The grit and stamina and constant improvements this team has shown is awesome. Yeah. Texas Tech won the must-win game for this year against the Horns. Thank you, team, and Coach McGuire, no doubt. It was certainly was one of those ones that had a big old star on it. Hope it's not the last time they're here. I don't think it will be. I think they'll be back at least in 24. After that, I don't know.
Getting you up and getting your sports day started.
That's me, man.
Wow.
Highly,
Impressive.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast.
I'm like the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Because your kids don't want mums?
My oldest is a senior, and I think we made it through without paying for a single mom.
Wasn't the guy supposed to pay for the mum?
Oh, I don't know.
From Double T 97.3.
Time for this day in sports history. Today is the 26th day of September.
Yes. 1921, where we will start. Sorry. Yankees. Babe Ruth hits his home run number 57 and 58 to beat the Indians 8-7.
Way to go, Bambino.
1926. The shortest doubleheader in Major League Baseball history. Yankees lose 6-1 in 72 minutes and lose again 6-2 in 55 minutes to the Browns. The Yankees had already clinched the pennant at this point in the season.
Boy, it seems like they were trying to lose on purpose at this point.
In 1950, Phillies pitcher Jim Constantly, and it might be wrong there, but it makes sense for this, makes his record 71st appearance of the year. Konstanty.
He was consistent, too.
He was absolutely consistent and constantly on the mound.
Constantly on the mound, right.
1954, A's defeat the Yankees 8-6 in the last game of the franchise will play in Philadelphia. Yogi Berra played his only game at third base in this game, and Mickey Mantle played shortstop. 1961, Roger Maris hits number 60 off of Jack Fisher, tying Babe Ruth's record.
Would today be a good day to break it? The Yankees play today?
I'm not sure if they play tonight or not.
1971. How good was this team? Baltimore Orioles pitcher Jim Palmer wins his 20th game of the year, becoming the fourth Oriole pitcher to win 20 games in the 71 season. This made the 71 Orioles pitching staff the first since the 1920 Chicago White Sox to field 4 20-game winners.
Did they list the 4 there?
No.
Okay. Dave McNally was one. Palmer was one. And there's it's like the 4 Beatles. The fourth one is
John,
always...
Paul, George, and Ringo?
Yeah, the fourth one's always hard to get. I'll get it for you here in a second.
So you think Ringo's the hard one to get out of the Beatles?
Or the
If
fifth,
it's always the fourth
the
one?
fifth Beatle, I guess, George Harrison.
No, that would be the George of the
Okay.
John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Okay.
1992, and I'm guessing this is the second battle of the sexes in tennis. Jimmy Connors beats Martina Navratilova 7-5, 6-3.
Yeah.
I don't remember this happening, but
I'm with you.
I don't. That's the first I can ever
That would-
remember
Yeah.
hearing about it.
that feels like it should have been a big deal. 1996, San Francisco Giant Barry Bonds is the second player to have a 40-40 season, 40 home runs, and 40 stolen bases.
Mike Cuellar and Pat Dobson are the other two. Pat Dobson is always the hard one to get on that.
Okay.
But they did not win the World Series that year.
It is National Key Lime Pie Day. Happy birthday to tennis superstar Serena Williams, who's 41. Linda Hamilton, 66. And Jillian Barberie, blast from the past from
Wow.
Fox Sports and NFL and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
56 today. And on this day in 1960, I might recommend you guys wearing a little bit of makeup because for the first time in U.S. history, a debate between the major party presidential candidates is shown on television, much like this program. The president's hopefuls, John F. Kennedy and the Democratic senator from Massachusetts, and Richard M. Nixon, the vice president of the United States, met in a Chicago studio to discuss the U.S. domestic matters. And as I'm sure Chuck will have more details on it, If you watched it, Kennedy won. If you listened to it, Nixon won the debate.
Yeah, because Tricky Dick was sweating and looked very uncomfortable, and Kennedy looked like the all-American boy.
Okay.
And that's really the first time where, you like Jeff said, if you listened to it on the radio, everybody said Nixon won because of his content and what he said. Kennedy won because of his looks and his charm and how he came off of that one. Hey, and just one last birthday. My mom is 90 today.
Well, happy
Nice.
birthday, Chuck's
Happy
mom.
birthday.
90. How about that?
That's awesome.
So yeah, so she's still doing well. She was texting me during the Tech game on Saturday and Chiefs game yesterday. So she was all up in her sports this past weekend. So happy birthday to my mom, who is 90 years old today. We should all be so lucky. 6:50 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Take your thoughts and comments. Go to the Yates Flooring Center chat line or hit us up on the Benchmark hotline, 806-771-0973. That's 806-771-0973. We talked about at least 3 of the wins for the Big 12 over the weekend, with K-State beating number 6 Oklahoma, and they're next on the list here for the Red Raiders. They'll travel to Manhattan. We'll have Optimum Game Day Live coverage presented by United Supermarkets at 7. The kick is at 11 from, the Snyder Family Stadium, Bill Snyder Family Stadium there on the campus of Kansas State University.
I think they call it the Rectangle of Doom there.
Well, it's right next to the Octagon of Doom. I mean, it's in the parking lot. They've got it all. They've got it all right together, and they've got quite the complex there. I mean, it's impressive. The stadium is very nice. It's got a limestone facade, which limestone. There's a lot of limestone in Kansas, and they've mined the quarry to make it look. It
Fits the rest of their entire.
It does.
Their entire campus. It looks awesome how it all. It's similar to Tech, where we have the architecture that all goes together
Sure.
here. Kansas State's is. I mean, it's different, but theirs also flows all
fits.
together,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very well done. Looks really cool.
Yeah, no, I took a picture of it the last time I was by it because I wanted to send it to some of my K-State friends and just said, hey, your stadium is really, really beautiful, and it just sickens me. I mean, it really is. I mean, they light that thing up at night. It's spectacular. Baylor with a win over Iowa State, 31-24. And then also TCU taking down SMU, 42-34. The Baylor score didn't surprise you, did it? Them winning?
I picked Iowa State to win.
Okay, well, then I
Yeah.
guess it did.
I thought that was going to be a good game, a close game.
Okay. And TCU and SMU, maybe a little closer than maybe some would have thought, but SMU fought pretty hard there to keep that game close.
I also picked SMU to win.
Okay. So
I clearly I'm not a good picker.
well, not this week. Neither one of us are, but we'll get to that at about 8:30 this morning. And then K-State, like I said, and Texas Tech, of course, winning in overtime over Texas, 37-34, and Kansas beating Duke 35-27. So we should be pretty much getting into all Big 12 play because Kansas was a little out of step there, and so was TCU. But now from now on should be nothing but Big 12 against Big 12. Okay,
That's when it becomes fun.
that's when it becomes fun. 6:53 this morning here on the Morning Drive. We'll have the Cowboys and the New York Giants. We didn't talk about this at all last week. I just thought it was comical. And now the head coach has come out and said there's not going to be any quarterback controversy. Dak's our number one, but Jerry Jones, I guess he's just pushing for a little, speculation with regard to the starting quarterback, saying,
That's not what he was saying, Chuck. You're smarter than that. He was saying that he would love the Cowboys to have a 10-win season. That's what he would, and the only way that happens is if Cooper Rush plays well.
The
That's
only
the
way they win games is if Cooper Rush plays well. That's all Jerry was saying. He could have said it better.
Yeah.
But he did not want a quarterback controversy. He just wants them to play well when Cooper's the quarterback until Dak gets back. Yeah, he doesn't want a controversy.
I know that.
He shouldn't have said it that way. But he said nothing that was offensive to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're
Hook,
right.
line, and sinker.
You're right.
I mean, I get the Dallas Cowboys
right
are full
about
of
that,
drama,
but I mean,
and I understand.
It's just comical sometimes in how much he speaks.
No argument.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, there's a whole lot of smoke because people are lighting paper on fire. There's no actual fire here.
He's just trying to create a little.
The
headline,
media
right?
knows they can fool some suckers, and
I wasn't fooled by it.
And I think that's why they write the articles that way. And I mean, Jerry's not wanting Dak to not be the quarterback. He just wants Cooper Rush and the Cowboys to play well while Dak is hurt.
Sure he does. But he also loves it when he also loves a little angst for everybody too. I think
Probably so.
can make people uncomfortable. That's what he likes to do.
Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is presented by Bizarre Solutions. Call them today for a free cybersecurity audit.
Yeah, you've already grilled me on a couple of questions today, but go ahead, Mr. Prosecutor. Fire away.
All right. My question for you today is, I think this one is somewhat difficult. Obviously, a big win for the Red Raiders on Saturday. Who is the team MVP in that game?
The team MVP. All right, I'm going to start with people that you don't win the ball game without, okay? You don't win the ball game without Donovan Smith's performance, 38 of 56, 331 yards, 2 touchdowns. You don't win the game without Miles Price and what he did, 13 catches for 98 yards, even though he didn't score any touchdowns. You don't win the game without Trey Wolff, okay? And obviously he had the 3 field goals, one from 27, one from 45, and then the overtime winner in 20 from 20 with the bad angle. You also don't win the game without the defense and what those guys did in getting the stops, particularly the 2 stops back to back, where they went after you failed on 4th down. They get it. They get it right back for you, and Texas Tech's able to drive down and score. That was the Baylor Cup touchdown after Texas Tech fails for it on 4th down. You'd gotten a 3 and out after you scored. So I'm trying to talk myself into somebody here. I would tell you that one of the things that I think that they would say, you don't win the game without Weston Wright being in the game, because I think that Coach McGuire felt like that he played a whale of a ball game. I'm going to go back to the quarterback and say Donovan Smith.
Okay. Jeff?
I'm really looking at what Roger Thompson did with 17 carries and 70 yards. That's controlling the football. That's part of how you got 100 plays in this game. But I am drawn toward Merriweather and Tyree Wilson, with the 2 combining for 14 tackles and a half sack, and just dominating the defensive side of the ball and doing what they were do there. They're on Reggie Pearson with 5 tackles,
plus an interception.
I mean, all of that goes into why you won this game.
I think you missed the biggest stat for Rashawn Merriweather.
Forcing the fumble.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest play of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to sing his praises, how do you not mention that?
No, you're right.
Yeah, it's a party foul on my part. So yeah, I'm going Merriweather. That's where I got to go there. You don't win this game without what he was able to do.
I think if I was picking a player, I would pick both of those guys. I think Donovan Smith and Merriweather. Okay, those would be my 2 guys. I mean, I'm going with Joey McGuire. I just don't think without that decision making you win the football game. Without the number of times he went for it on 4th down, you don't win the game. You don't win the game. You don't. And so, as I told you before, I didn't always agree with the decisions to go for it on those times. But they worked out for you.
Yeah.
And when they didn't work out, your defense immediately made a play to got them off the field and kept it from hurting you. Those were extremely gutsy calls. And you don't win the game without them. So I think both of your answers are great. Those were my two players. Okay, I'm 100% with you guys on those.
Okay.
And
I was beginning to wonder.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. But so I just am, Joey McGuire. Going for it on fourth down and picking up those fourth downs was massive. I feel like every one of them that you picked up, if you lose one of those, if you were only 5 of 8, I don't know that you win the game. Take your pick. Which one you take away? Take away any of the 5. Obviously, the one at midfield.
Yeah.
Okay. But take away any of the 5.
I thought the second biggest fourth down play was the fourth down stop you got after being stopped on fourth down. You were stopped.
That stop was huge.
You were stopped at 4th and goal, and then Texas comes back and they get the ball back, and then they go for it on fourth down, and then.
Yeah,
Texas Tech
the beginning of the third quarter. Not for third quarter. Yeah, because that was still in the same. It had to be a third quarter where it was you went for it on fourth down on the first drive.
I thought you forced a punt after the 4th and goal. How about the when you went for it early in the third quarter and didn't get it?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
And that wasn't after a 4th and goal.
Right. You're right. After the 4th and goal, you forced a punt. That's right. You're exactly right.
Yeah, because they wouldn't have been going for it deep in their own end.
No, you're right. And then Tech got the ball at the Texas 30 and then drove down and scored. And that was the Baylor Cup touchdown right there.
Yep.
But getting the stop. Okay.
Yeah, that was big.
But it wasn't the fourth down stop. But you're right.
Something that I only really noticed when I was putting together our little highlight reel that I've been playing at the top of the hour. The crowd was fantastic in this game with regards to when the defense had the ball and when the Tech offense had the ball. It was a night and day difference. That hasn't always been the case. There's been cheering and celebrating and doing all those things during a Tech game. But this was like professional crowd-esque with regards to the difference in
knowing when to
be extremely loud and then being able to hear a pin drop on carpet on that Trey Wolf field goal in overtime. And I'm sure some of it had to do with nervousness and everything else, but it was dead silent when the Tech offense had the ball until the big play happened. That played a huge factor in this game, too. I'd also say the Suns should get some credit because they cooked the Longhorns.
There's no question. And Steve Sarkisian spoke about that after the ball game, saying that, the basically being out on the field as much as they were. The defense was out on the field for 100 plays.
Yeah, man.
That fatigue got to them. It's only natural, and they were over there baking on the east side. I don't think the Sun ever sat where the Texas bench had some relief as opposed to the Texas Tech bench, which does get some relief there. So, but yeah, I thought that was. He said we had some opportunities. This is Sarkisian. The ball got loose. We didn't create any turnovers. So at the end of the day, when you play 100 plays on defense and only run 60 on offense, that's not a great formula for success in any league. And then he said, like I said, all the credit in the world to Tech. They did a heck of a job. He said, we struggled to protect the quarterback and to win on first down in the second half. We had missed opportunities in the passing game, didn't make catches we're accustomed to making, turned the ball over twice. Defensively, our inability to get off the field was a real factor. They went for it 8 times and got 6. And of those 6, a few of those were close. We just couldn't get the quarterback on the ground to get them off the field, which was disappointing. And credit your offensive line for that. This one, Texas got called for the delay of game back in their own end zone. That's the loudest I've heard the Jones in a while. Okay. I couldn't see the play because I was listening to the radio. The thing that bothered me most is how did Texas Tech give up a long pass with 17 seconds left in regulation?
Really, really good pass and great.
Great catch.
tiptoe catch, but clearly there was, you got in between the corner and the safety there, and I don't know if the corner was checking up on an underneath route, which at that point you're willing to give up the underneath route, so you want him to not check up, but the safety didn't cover where he was supposed to come across and take away that route to the outside. You knew they wanted to go to the outside of the field. Or again, maybe just credit the Longhorns for making a great play there.
Yeah, there's that too.
Probably a combination of all those things.
7:40 this morning on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. We have one texter that says Merriweather and one that says Donovan Smith. So it kind of goes to show you we're kind of in lockstep with some of you as well, or you're in lockstep with us. I don't know how that makes you feel.
Big plays and even bigger laughs.
If they get 7 out of those 2 things, game over. You're not winning. You're not winning that game at all.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast.
Basketball players who don't wear the shoes that match the uniform.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Match the color scheme of the team they play for.
From Double T 97.3, the Boom 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 on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Montelongo's Mexican Restaurant. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner at 3021 Clovis Highway.
Despite a pair of good looks in the second half for the Red Raider soccer team, Texas Tech's 4-match unbeaten streak came to a halt at the hands of number 25 Texas 2-0 yesterday afternoon at the John Walker Soccer Complex. Tech will hit the road for the first time in conference play to face Oklahoma State and Oklahoma this upcoming weekend. Thursday night's kickoff from Stillwater is set for 7 o'clock.
Probably not going to be a couple a day for a couple of folks with the Georgia Tech football program and maybe even the athletic director. The Georgia Tech Athletic Association Board has a meeting scheduled for today. It's a special meeting. Jeff Collins, some reports out there that he's already been fired. The athletic director, Todd Stansbury, also could be fired today. Georgia Tech now 1-3 after losing Saturday to UCF 27-10. They've also lost to Ole Miss and to Clemson. Collins is 10-28 as Georgia Tech's coach. So, yeah, I think you're going to see more and more college football teams doing this to try to get ahead of the game in terms of who's going to be next for them, especially after what's transpired here in Lubbock, how successful that's been so far.
16th ranked Texas Tech men's golf program returns to action after a nearly 3-week hiatus for the Inverness Intercollegiate hosted by the University of Toledo. The 2-day 54-hole event begins today with 36 holes before wrapping up on Tuesday with a third and final round.
All right, Monday Night Football tonight features the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Football Giants. It's a marquee matchup tonight. The Giants are favored by 1 tonight. Cowboys are 1-1 on the season. Giants are 2-0 on the year. Of course, they're playing without Dak Prescott, but they have Micah Parsons. And Micah Parsons has a chance to do something that only a couple of other guys have done. So, and that's getting multiple sacks in the first 3 weeks of the season. He leads the NFL with 4 sacks, 2 in each of the first 2 games. If he does it again tonight, he would join Kevin Green, who did it in 98, and Mark Gastineau, who did it as part of the New York Sack Exchange for the Jets in 1984, as the only players to start a season with 3 multi-sack games. Okay? There's your tidbit for the Cowboys.
Pretty cool.
Mike McCarthy says, Micah wreaks havoc. He's definitely a focal point for every one of our opponents. You could see that last year. Yeah.
Major League Baseball yesterday, Rangers fall to the Guardians 10-4, while Houston doubles up Baltimore in 11, 6-3. Astros will take on the Diamondbacks tomorrow. Rangers begin a series in Seattle against the Mariners.
Couple of managerial things from baseball. Don Mattingly will not be back as the manager of the Miami Marlins. He and the team have met and decided that a new voice is needed for the team. For Mattingly, unsure about what he's going to do next. So we'll see. He said, I always think you try to follow your heart, and that's what I do. Honestly, you know what's inside of you, and you try to be deliberate and let things work through, and you just follow your heart, and you know when it's the right thing. His short-term plan is to go back to his family home in Evansville, Indiana. Did you know that's where he lived?
I did not know that.
Okay. Also, Tony La Russa will not be back as the manager for the Chicago White Sox for the remainder of the season. Uncertain as to whether he'll return next year. He's had some heart issues and had a pacemaker put in. It's got some other procedures being done. So La Russa's 78. He's been advised by doctors not to manage again in 2022. I would have to think that he's probably done.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
It's also been advised by Jeff McGuire not to manage again.
That's right.
All right, the
Or at least
NFL.
the White Sox. He can go manage somebody else.
The NFL is replacing the Pro Bowl with week-long skills competitions and a flag football game.
Really?
The new event will replace the Full Contact Showcase started in 1951. It will be renamed the Pro Bowl Games and feature AFC and NFC players showcasing their football and non-football skills and challenges over several days. The 2023 games will be held in Las Vegas and the flag football game at Allegiant Stadium on February the 5th.
I'm speechless. That's just stupid. I mean,
So is the Pro Bowl.
well, I understand
this
that.
could be fun.
Then just get rid of it. I mean, to have a
They
flag
can't get rid of it. It makes too much money.
There you go. To have a flag football game, though. I mean,
When they played dodgeball a few years ago, it was the best thing the
awesome.
Pro Bowl has ever done. I hope they include
well,
that.
and the skills competition is one thing, but to culminate it with a flag football game, this should take the flag football game out of it.
Don't you remember the summer quarterback competitions that were, I want to say it was on HBO. It could have been on something different.
No,
Yeah.
I think it was on regular TV, wasn't it?
But those were fantastic.
Those
this
were
is bringing
fun.
that back.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the Pro Bowl. It's supposed to be fun.
I mean, you just can't play football at half speed. That's just the way it is.
One of
And
the,
those guys they're worth too much money to be out there playing at half speed, possibly risking themselves and
I would say the
tackling and
same
all
thing
that.
about the flag football, though. Then,
Yeah, but the odds are way less of one of them getting hurt
Yeah.
without being tackled.
Yeah. Finally, one of the stupidest things that I think you'll see in baseball took place in Kansas City yesterday. 2 former teammates were ejected prior to the first pitch of the ball game between the Mariners and the Royals. Did you see this? Mm-hmm. Luke Weaver, who plays for the Royals, and Robbie Ray, who plays for the Mariners, stayed out and stayed put after the national anthem to have a showdown to see who would stay there the longest. They stayed at their respective dugouts, hand over their heart. Their teammates came over from time to time with water, sweat towels, and even a Theragun to massage their aching muscles. Okay? Weaver said it wasn't anything planned, just looked across the line. Both saw each other stay for an extra second, then said, yeah, we've seen this done before. We're going to try to have some fun. It's the last home game. The fans are coming out loud and proud. The teammates are rallying behind me. It was just trying to have a little bit of fun. Except then they interfered with first pitch and with the lineup cards and all that kind of stuff. And so finally the home plate umpire, Adrian Johnson, had enough, waved them off. They still didn't budge. He got more aggressive, pointing in Weaver's direction to get off the field. The game started 3 minutes late, and then he tossed him. They probably deserved that.
Yeah, I think it was fun all the way around. I mean, I don't think they really bothered. I do hate that. I wish the umpire would have made the decision so it didn't go a little bit quicker, so they didn't make the game delay 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see it as like being disrespectful or whatever, and I think the umpire handled it the right way as far as like, okay, all right, you're both out of here. You know, you had your fun. Now you're done.
Now you're done.
Now you're done.
They didn't have to stay out in the hot sun. So they got to go back to the clubhouse and eat pizza.
I just wish he'd have made the decision just a little bit quicker so
Yeah.
the game wouldn't have started
Yeah.
3 minutes late.
That's the boom, boom, boom this morning here on the morning drive.
But it's kind of goofy. It's
goofy.
just, I don't know.
We've talked about this, but we'll talk about it again. Somebody says this on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I hope someone addresses Texas Tech fan behavior after the game. It's one thing to have an excited, energetic, and emotional celebration. It's another to be violent. The physical assault on the Texas players, I'm only aware of one, is unacceptable, and it is unacceptable. And that young man should just come forward and turn himself in and, accept the consequences of whether he's going to be ejected from the stadium permanently or, for a period of time, and make his apologies and accept his punishment and move on. And it doesn't need to be this manhunt. He just needs to do the right thing and turn himself in. So if you're listening this morning, go down to Tech PD, turn yourself in, accept your punishment, and move on.
Yeah, he's not going to turn himself in. He's not. He's a college kid who thinks he's going to get away with it.
Well, and we don't know if he's a college kid. He looks college age.
Sure. Okay.
But
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
He could be an LCU student for all we know that's wearing tech gear.
I just said college kid. I
you're right.
didn't say where he went to
went to
school.
Yeah.
I think that was,
That's true. Yeah,
that was a little bit. I mean,
what?
I think the odds are pretty good he's a tech student.
Looks.
Okay, I know the streaker was not. Okay,
If you're a betting man, yeah. The
Okay.
streaker was not. Yeah, thanks for bringing that guy up.
Okay.
How do we know it was not a Texas student in a tech shirt? Oh yeah,
I mean,
because that's probably
Yeah.
the case.
yeah, and I don't think he should get a slap on the wrist. I think he should be hit hard,
do
and
too.
so we stop this stuff. And the same thing goes with throwing the bottles on the field. I think they should be hit harder, and maybe they'll stop. But until there is a legit punishment for it, the idiocracy is going to continue. Sorry. That's my opinion, and that's why I think people should actually be arrested for it.
Recapping yesterday while looking ahead to today's sports day.
But I bet you many of his coaches probably haven't. They're like, who is this? What is this Mayberry that you speak of, right?
This is the Morning Drive Podcast
Sign me up. Get your popcorn ready.
from Double T 97.3.
Pretty cool what happened on Saturday with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Hines. At least in between the 15 and the zeros that went up at the end in regulation and then on to the overtime. Nice to have you with us. We come to you from the First United Bank Double T 97.3 studio. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app for that. Benchmark hotline is open as well.
Should we ask, open it up on the chat line, did anybody see anyone taking their Christmas card picture standing underneath the Double T?
Oh, I don't know if that. I didn't see anybody. I stayed through the Matador song and I didn't see anybody doing that. But I took plenty of good pictures so that I've got. In fact, I sent out early Christmas cards. I sent one to you. Merry Christmas to the Lentz from the Hineses. I sent one to Jeff McGuire. I sent one to Kurt Langford from the Texas Tech Alumni Association. I saw him at the.
Where was the picture?
Well, the picture was of the scoreboard.
I didn't get the picture.
Oh, you didn't get the picture?
I just got the message.
Oh, there was a picture there that I sent too. I sent you a picture with it. Maybe it didn't go through. But I sent a picture there. It said, "Merry Christmas to the Lentz from the Hineses."
Yeah, no picture.
I even
Jeff, did you get the picture?
I got a Merry Christmas from Chuck and Laura and the picture.
And the picture.
I did not get the picture.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought I hit block all text from Chuck. Apparently, I just hit block all pictures sent from Chuck.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a safe thing. Yeah, there's a
I
safe
even got.
Yes, because you never know what Chuck is going to send.
I even got if you want it. I even got like after.
And yours says Chuck and Laura. Ours just says the Hineses.
Well, just to the Lentz, to the Lentz from the Hineses.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because that's an individual Christmas card,
Right.
an individual message.
Customized it.
Yeah,
That
it's
it
well
was
done.
not a group that we all got the same one that now we have 85 numbers that we don't need. So I appreciate that, Chuck.
Yeah. I even got one at the end of regulation that has the Double T 97.3 logos on it. And that's the one I sent to you along with the big Raidertron 5000 where it says Tech wins and then the final score with the double zeros on it. So you could have a 3-part card. You got a 3-part card from me.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then I think I also sent one to someone else. Chris Need says, "Thanks for my picture." Oh, wait, I guess it didn't make the cut. You were working, so I didn't want to bother you. I didn't want to bother him while he was officiating.
I didn't think it was a picture of the scoreboard. I thought it was a picture of the family underneath the scoreboard.
Double T scoreboard Christmas card would have been great to send to my wife's UT loving family. Let's see here. That was the first time I got to go to a Tech and Texas game, and it was amazing. If this is the last time they come, what a way to send them back home. I think they're going to be here in 2024.
I do too, unfortunately.
Somebody says we got that picture. Somebody else says yes. A picture of the Double T is Christmas cards. Love me some Joey McGuire. That post-game speech was magical. That from D-Rock. Yeah, that was good. I couldn't get it to everybody. I couldn't get the Christmas card to everybody. I mean, I was also working on Saturday, getting ready for things. I did get a text from a friend of mine and a listener of this program who said, "Holy cow, Chuck, I'm getting way too old for these finishes. But I will take them. It pays to be negative Nancy because I did not think we had a chance. Can't wait to listen Monday." So that was a friend of mine that sent that. So anyway, it was a good win. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing that this year, sending out Christmas cards with just the final score there.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Just with the scoreboard.
Yeah. Just with the scoreboard.
Not you in the picture.
No, I might have a collage,
Okay.
with me and the
Okay.
lucky lady, the score with it tied with the Double T 97.3, logo there on the scoreboard. I always try to get the perfect one of that. So I think I finally did.
I mean, he's still gonna have to get the Kansas logo in there too somewhere. You got to have equal billing, right, Chuck?
No.
Will you brag about your 4-0 team for a minute?
It's fine. I mean, they're 4-0. They got a full house Saturday. That's good. They beat Duke. That's good. For them, the equivalent of beating Texas would be to beat K-State. So I don't. Chuck, you should put that on a billboard in Austin. Flyover guy. Maybe so. What else was I going to tell you from the game on Saturday? Oh, the number of people have commented on the jackwagon that pushed the Texas player. I'll tell you something that bothers us, and Raiders' dad brings this up too. I love the atmosphere and was more focused on the game. I'm sure it has always been this way, but there were several times where Raiders' mom wanted to take the kids and leave. We were among a group of middle-aged adults, 40-plus, raining F-bombs pretty much the whole game. We have season tickets, and the conversation on the way home was essentially, you can go with friends and have fun, but that is anything but family-friendly for our 5- and 10-year-old. It would bother me more if it was the middle-aged adults. I will tell you this, the student section was, after anything positive, it was blank UT, blank UT, blank UT, blank UT. I mean, it wasn't just once, it was all throughout the game. And I get it, it's the student section. To me, that's one thing. But, for the middle-aged adults to be doing it, that's not good. I hate the throwing of stuff on the field. I hate the throwing of the tortillas on the field. I don't like them being thrown in the stands. I realize it's been a tradition for a long, long time. I just think once you start throwing one thing, it kind of gives you permission to seem to throw everything, despite what they say. Don't throw anything on the field. We've got too much stuff being thrown on the field, and it's time to do something about that.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.